So what's up? Is it working? Let's see. Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? That's pretty good. Fix up a couple things here. Hi, Faith. Have we met before, or are you new to my channel? I am trying new. Oh, thank you so much. I'm trying something new. I'm trying this new streaming software that's external. It uses my phone as a camera, but I'm actually managing everything here on my computer. It's quite a learning curve. So I just thought I would do a little bit of streaming momentarily. And if there was any interest, we could have a little discussion. If anybody has any questions. But I'll tell you, I begin my 7th extended water fast this April the 22nd. 7 years of extended water fasting. The first time was 75 days, and many of them were around 40 days. I think the shortest was 21 days, which was just last year. But that was because after 3 weeks, I felt I had achieved my goals. I felt that I could accomplish the rest of what I wanted to do through diet. So I've been focusing more on maintenance, on finding a way of eating protocol that is sustainable long term, and I think I found that. And last year I lost about 35 pounds and I kept it off. So, so this year I have a new goal. And right now I'm hovering around 230 pounds. And I want to get to 215. by the end of May and maintain that weight for the rest of the year. And it's predominantly meat, but it is meat, cheese, eggs. Not very much cheese, of course. High fat meat diet. So I eat meat, cheese, eggs, butter, and heavy whipped cream in my coffee. And I do not do what they call clean fasting, but I refuse to call it dirty fasting. I just find that whole phrase to be stupid. It's not dirty, but when I fast now, I keep heavy whipped cream in my coffee. And so far this year, I began this year January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th water fasting. It happened to be January 1st happened to be a Monday, and I had started fast week or 1 day a week, Mondays. And then those Mondays were what? Why would it stop? Sorry, I'm getting a message that my stream was going to stop. I don't know why. I'm new to this software. Okay. So I was fasting 1 day a week and I did that for several months, every Monday, and I found that doing that one fasting day a week kept me cognizant of my goals and what I was doing, and kept me acquainted with hunger, my friend, and fasting, the discipline of and anyway, it got to the point where it was feeling so easy to do 1 day a week. And I'll tell you, if you don't fast a lot, we've always said the first 3 days are the hardest, which is really true on an extended fast, especially if you're not used to it. But now I breeze through a day of no eating like nothing at all. And it got to the point where I just decided that I could fast 2 days a week. So this year, so far, 2024, I've fasted every Monday and Tuesday. And I began the year by fasting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Last week, that is the last 3 days, because today is Thursday, I fasted Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the only reason for that is because I fasted Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday I took some food out that I'd planned to eat, and I didn't feel the urgency, so I just fasted for a third day. So what do we have now? January, February, March, or March the 7th. So if January and February was 8 weeks, we're about 9 weeks. I think we're closer to 10 weeks where I've fasted at least 2 days a week, plus some. So I've probably fasted already this year 22 days. Imagine that. And I do it for my weight, but I also do my weight for my health. So my weight is a good marker of health, but I have some other markers that I watch very carefully. And I I just find that for me, I'm hoping that my water fasting would help me reduce my weight and my way of eating would help me maintain my weight. Well, hunger hunger's a really interesting thing, you know. Um, Fasting is like a muscle that you exercise and it gets stronger. So right now, I have so much confidence around water fasting that I have no anxiety whatsoever on my days that I do not eat, right? And I think that's a big part of it because I just know that I can. And so those feelings of hunger that we have always um, corrected. Basically,
Those
ever since we were children, ever since we've been a baby, our parents were diligent at feeding our hunger. When a baby cries, you have to check a few things. Do they have a dirty diaper? Are they hungry? Do they have a fever? Are they sick? But more often than not, the first thing you do is give them, hopefully, the breast. Um, so you want to make sure you give them food, and as soon as we're hungry, we've been feeding that impulse ever since we were born, and it's a common human experience to sometimes I'm pretty sure everybody has experienced it before, where they will say, "Oh my God, I am so hungry today. I haven't eaten anything all day. If I don't eat, I feel like I'm going to die." And there is that escalation of hunger that you want to fix. You know you can fix it, and it's actually really enjoyable to eat, so you eat and you fix that hunger. You know how to do that. And so you need to reprogram your mind on what the feeling of hunger is. That's all. You need to change the idea of how to respond to that feeling. And so what I learned in my extended fast is that I would say, "Oh, hello, hunger, my good friend. Come on in. You are welcome here. Let's join arms together. Let's be friends." Um, and I would embrace that feeling of hunger because I knew that when I was feeling hunger, good things were happening, you know? Um, when you're doing an extended fast, there's an awful lot of healing going on in your body. You have, is it autophagy or autophagy, where your body is eating, consuming the dead cells. You've consumed all of the glucose, the glycogen in your body. That is your sugar stores, that's your fast energy. And until your body has consumed all of that, it can't flip the switch to fat burning. So um, if your body is really dependent on a glycogen rich diet, which is all carbohydrates, it's sugar, but carbohydrates turns to sugar. So until you stop that habit, and you should do that before you're fasting, you should try to reduce your intake and dependency on carbohydrates and sugar. Then what I've noticed is that this diet protocol I'm on now, carnivore, meat, cheese, eggs, butter, heavy cream, is a symbiotic relationship with fasting. because my body isn't sugar dependent. It's not living on glycogen, it's living on fat. So I think it's a lot easier to do extended water fasting when you are not dependent on glycogen. So thank you for your questions, Faith. You have good questions, and I like your name. Actually, I have faith and hope tattooed on my arm because I wanted a to send myself a message, and I wanted it to be meaningful, and it is. You know, let's see here. Suggestion 2500. Stream current bitrate. Just trying to fix something here for a moment, but I don't really know how. Okay. Any other questions? But I really just kind of went into water fasting cold, and I just did it. I really did it, I think, because I had to do it. I really just felt so crappy, and I had felt so crappy for so long. Just really unhealthy, and I wasn't healthy in mind, body, or spirit. And it is hard to keep the weight down. It's actually easy to lose the weight through water fasting, but it's hard to keep the weight off. And so I recommend water fasting for weight loss, but I think if people want a fast correction to their weight and they haven't figured out how to eat in a sustainable way for a long period of time, like 6 months, a year, because anybody can white knuckle themselves through any kind of diet protocol for several weeks or even a couple months, but they're just holding on, and they're depending on sheer willpower. But in the end, you can't. No one can do that. No one can do that. And what I've found now is that the way I eat is very intuitive and it's very sustaining and satisfying and fortifying. My body feels so satisfied and I have very few cravings. I once did a video on hunger, cravings, and desire. So some of our eating is habit based. Sometimes we eat out of boredom. Sometimes we do emotional eating because it's comfort. Um, Cravings I have a lot more respect for now than I once did. It's not habit eating. There's something missing. Like I've noticed that, for example, I used to just crave chocolate. And I also noticed I could eat chocolate, um, even though it was high in sugar, and the sugar itself didn't cause me a negative reaction, didn't cause a lot of water retention. It did cause weight gain. For several days it took me to recover, but But I would have these cravings, and sometimes it was like I liked to combine peanuts with chocolate, and I thought I was a binge eater because I couldn't. Um, yes, I'm a Christian faith. I was raised evangelical Christian. And why aren't you supposed? Of course you can ask that. Anyway, so what was I saying about craving like chocolate and peanuts and binge eating. And then like I would buy a big bar of chocolate, Lindt, very good chocolate, and 300 milligrams, and I could not have a few pieces and put it away. I would have to eat the whole thing. Or if I opened a bag of potato chips, I would have to eat the whole thing. And even though it made me feel sick, but not that sick because I was just used to abusing my body and my stomach. And faith, you know what the Bible says about faith? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. My dad always said that. Faith is not just a spiritual concept either. Faith is a belief in your abilities to accomplish something. You know, even like water fasting. If you want to fast, you have to believe you can do it. And not just like making a post on social media trying to make yourself accountable. I'm going to do this because I've seen so many people do that. They want to make a declaration, but they don't follow through. They can't follow through. God changed your name? What do you mean? Well, we have 3 viewers in the room. How is my stream? Because on my streaming platform, it's telling me my bit rate is too high, and I don't even know what that means or how to fix it. Stream bit rate of 2500. Let me see if I can fix something here. Oh, I guess I can go into here. Stream bit rate 2500. I don't have a very fast internet at home, so I wonder how the stream is coming across live. I would like to stream more often, and I would do it more often I was if I felt like people wanted that. If people um, could tell me whether they benefit from that. I've never tried to monetize myself in any way. Um, I've never, I've always thought that anybody who monetizes themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all try to find something we're good at and sell it, and we all need to make a living. But um, it's hard to remain pure in your motive when when you've monetized yourself. And I've seen so many YouTubers. I just saw one the other day, and it's not a channel that I really follow, and it's a guy. Well, I think he's living in a van, and he built a whole channel around van life. And then he posted a video and he said, "I'm sorry I lied." And I caught just the very beginning of it, which was he said, I thought my identity was tied to what I'm doing here, living in a van. And I felt like that's how I built my channel and I built my viewers. And they do make money on their YouTube channel by the number of subscribers and the number of views. So you can analyze that and you can see what videos um, create the most income. I changed the bit rate. I don't know if it's going to be better now, but thanks for the feedback about that. And thanks, Jim. When you say fire on oh, I read that as fire on my end. It's fine. Now I changed the bit rate. How is it now? Anyway, in this world of water fasting, which is pretty small, there was this guy that came on to the scene. And he burst onto the scene and he called himself Fasting Fat Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was like 500 pounds or something like that. And he water fasted for, oh, a long time. More than me. I did 75 days. And um, he was very popular. He was congenial. He was very likable. Um, and then he wanted to monetize and he wanted to start coaching. And he's talking about business because he's entrepreneurial and he never said what his businesses were, but he said that interfered sometimes. And then he said COVID kind of interfered with his business stuff. And then he monetized. He took a coaching course and he was coaching people. And I thought, um, he hasn't arrived yet. He shouldn't be coaching people. That's just what I thought. Because, hey, when he began in his earlier videos, he mentioned me as his inspiration. And I know that I'm still learning and I'm going to start my 7th annual water fast and I've made lots of mistakes. I'm no expert. So he was writing a book and he was coaching and I don't mean to diss him. Um, he disappeared. I think he died. I literally think he died because his YouTube channel was doing really well. It would have been generating already some fairly decent income, and it had a lot more potential to. I mean, he could have been a full-time YouTuber, and then he was doing his coaching, and all of a sudden he disappeared. He posted a cooking video, and then he never came back. And you can still go to that video and read those comments, and there's still people posting comments like every week. it's slowed down a bit, but people are like, geez, uh, fasting fat man, I hope you're well. I hope you're okay. Please tell us you're okay. And I just don't think he's the kind of guy that would have just disappeared like that without saying, hey guys, I realized this is not the best thing for me or whatever, so I'm going to bow out for a while. There's just no, to me, there's really no other explanation. And I think he died. I think he's no longer with us. Um, there's another woman that has a channel that is getting some success, and it's getting some success because for two reasons. For one thing, she does work hard at it. She's very consistent. She puts out content almost every single day, but her channel should be called the shit show or something because her channel is all about she's been trying to fast and lose weight for 3 years or more. And this year, or for the last 3 or 4 months, she's been on a weight loss challenge to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Now, let me tell you what I know about water fasting. It's almost impossible to lose 30 pounds in 30 days if you don't eat any food. And then she keeps saying all diets work. And her premise on that is simply if you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight, which is kind of true, except it's not because um, you do that too long, you mess up your metabolism because our bodies are smart. So our bodies figure out that they're not getting enough. And because they're not getting enough, they become more efficient and they hold on to our fat stores so we don't lose the weight. I read your comment, Faith, and that doesn't resonate. I don't think that's the same person, but that person that I'm talking about, so she says all diets work. Then she always says, guys, I know what I'm doing. You don't need to tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it my way. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Come on. So I think back to my original point, she's earning a little bit of money on YouTube and she talks about it. She says her goal is to be a full-time YouTuber and accountability coach. And so she thinks that the way for her to do that is to accomplish a goal like lose 80 pounds, which gives her credibility because then she's accomplished that, but she can't do it. And I think all of her time and energy and mental focus is about the video and not her journey. And that's why I'm not on YouTube very much because I've experienced that too while I'm doing some of my fasting. Um, your mind is like, well, what am I going to tell the people tomorrow? And I want to do this, but I'm going to screw up and then I have to tell the people. Well, that's a little bit of accountability, so that part is kind of good, but it messes up your brain. when you try to monetize your story. When your primary goal is your health and your weight, and you're doing it through like uh, an endeavor, like let's say water fasting, then you should be focused on yourself, not telling your story, right? Because as soon as you're documenting your story, that it's if you're not careful, that becomes your primary objective. Your priorities get turned upside down. Then you start thinking about a good story. Then you want to live that experience to create that story, but it's not that way. So that's why I've always been very careful about that. The Facebook page that I generated too, which is pretty much dead, is because of that too. I haven't maximized its potential to try to monetize either membership or I felt like we're going to build a community, and if the community is interested in engaging with each other on this topic, they can invest some of their time and energy. And if they don't want to do that, I'm not going to carry this whole thing by myself. So that's that's how that went. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 thousand members, but we have like 2 or 3 people posting sometimes, you know. And we also posted food pictures and talked about food a lot because, hey, come on, you can't water fast forever. You have to eat. So life is about eating and food and healthy eating. And you've got to figure that out. So it's all about the maintenance. And I think the page is like a water fasting page. A lot of people go there because it's on their mind. They want to water fast. They want to do a water fast. So they go there then. And then they're wanting to water fast. It's not their lifestyle. They just want to lose some weight before their wedding or something. But then they go to my page and they see food pictures or something. Well, they can't water fast while they're looking at food. Okay, well, this was a very good experiment. I figured out how to use this streaming OBS streaming software. Um, Before I go, do you guys have any other questions or comments? But I think that this year I'm going to fast. Like I said, I will begin April 22nd. That just happened to be the starting date 7 years ago. And I also remember that date because it's my sister's birthday. What makes it a little bit difficult, and the reason I ended it after 3 weeks last year too, is because, well, I was happy with the results, but also because my birthday is May the 21st, so April 22nd, May 21. And I've tried to find a balance in my social life because for many, many years I've been very restrictive and there's been a lot of family events that are, well, they're food, right? And I'm fasting, and people don't like that, really. It's not generally well received. It kind of like puts a kibosh on the whole thing. So I've tried to be a little bit more flexible about some of that. Um, and for my birthday, My mom is 88. She turned 89 2 weeks ago, and she likes to make a birthday cake. She makes a buttercream layer cake, and she makes, honestly, her cake is famous. And as long as she's with us and she's going to make a cake like that, I'm going to eat some. So probably I can't fast past my birthday. And if I'm going to eat on my birthday, I should stop fasting a couple days before. Are you still there, Faith? I will put the name and you can watch her. You know, I do want to say that, Faith, I fasted Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Today's Thursday. Well, I don't think you're going to learn anything from her channel. You could learn what not to do. She also runs challenges. She has so many people that, and she's banned my comments because I've told her, put me on your interview. Let me interview you. Um, you and your sister and boyfriend did what? Sorry, I missed that. Sorry about that. You and your sister and boyfriend did what? But anyway, there was another lady once that also burst on the scene. She was a really large lady, and it was around the time when, Monday through Wednesday. Really? You're doing, oh, you did that this week. Oh, good for you. Amazing. How did it go? So I just want to say that on that Facebook page, I've run a couple of, I don't like the word challenge. I don't like this whole challenge idea. No, all of this accountability stuff. I don't need that. It doesn't work for me. But we did some fasting events as a group and we tracked it all and it's all there in the Facebook group. It's all on a spreadsheet. You can see the amount of weight that everybody lost. You can see trends. And there's some anomalies, which means, in my opinion, some people weren't being entirely honest. But you can see what happens when you fast. We've tracked enough data. We have good data. And this one woman burst on the scene, and started making some videos, and she made some really big claims about what she was going to do. And in the end, she did make a video and she said she was lying. She cleared her conscience. I can see how that happens because, you know, let's say you're fasting and you're counting the days, and then you're 10 or 12 days in and you want to go for 30 days, but you are tempted to eat something and you think, well, nobody will know unless I tell them. And if I want to do it, I can, which is true. You can. You can do whatever you want. Except if you're putting yourself out there as some kind of encourager of other people and you're telling your story, well, it's just never good to lie, right? And so she really was committed to her goals, but she couldn't achieve them. Her goals were they were too ambitious to begin with. You could see, I can see this now after all of these years. I can see when people say, what they want to do, and they're putting it out there as an act of faith, or because they want to be accountable to that goal. They've publicly said it, but I can already see, no, they're setting themselves up for failure. They're going to fail. That's why I said that woman's um, YouTube channel could be called a shit show, because it's kind of like I watch it sometimes because it's like a train wreck. And then, like, I think she's noticed that when she makes a video and puts a title like "I was bad again" or "I ate bad again," "I failed yesterday," I think she notices that she gets more views or something. So she's doing it to build her channel, which is fine. She's actually getting success in her channel. And misery loves company. So there's lots of people that are trying to lose weight and failing, right? And so when they can watch someone else who is trying to lose weight and failing, it makes them feel better about themselves. And if no, she's black and she's Muslim, she wears a headscarf. I posted the name of her channel. You can search it. Some people's bodies really don't change, so it gets suspicious. You know, to me, I'm not even about the weight. Often I don't care about that, and I like the whole thing about getting on the scale and showing the scale and proving the numbers. I don't really care if someone believes me or not. I really don't care. Um, I know if I'm being honest or not. And if you try to lose weight and you fail, that's part of your story, and it's useful. It's useful. But if you build a whole channel around wanting to lose weight for 3 years and not lose weight, what are you doing? Like, maybe rethink it a little bit. Or if a guy like me comes along and wants to offer some advice in a nice way, don't block me. But she does. And she's blocked me because, and she calls any negative, she calls any person that posts a comment on her channel that's calls her out or holds her accountable because she wants to be an accountability coach. She calls them haters. Well, she's living her life. But anyway, no, the whole point of all of that was to say that we um, we need to be honest, and it's difficult to be honest when we try to monetize our story. And also, I notice in this diet and weight loss sphere, um, so many people selling products, supplements, electrolytes, and some of those products are probably good, but um, but again, they are. So then what? At what point can you trust the message when their message relies on their income and how they deliver their product or sell their product or whatever? So if their message is, oh my gosh, I discovered the fountain of youth, and I concocted this thing, and ever since I used it or did this thing every day, I've experienced, this or that. And um, I don't believe in products. I don't think we need any products, and I don't think it's what we put in our mouths that's going to make us healthy. It's what we stop eating. It's what we stop eating. Um, So, oh, don't be sorry. Where do you live, Faith? That's amazing that you and your sister and your boyfriend all could could fast for 3 days together. But especially if you're cohabitating, that's really, really beneficial because if you have to do food, is that in Tennessee? Chattanooga. I don't know why I think that. And it's just, yeah, but yeah, like I live alone, so my food protocols now are probably would be weird to most people. But I can do it because I live alone and I don't have to align my eating or food to anybody else. Chattanooga, Tennessee. I don't even know why I know that because I'm just a Canadian. That's cool. Well, what kind of results did you get in your 3 day water fasting? Was it just, not just, but 3 days or more than 3 days? So it was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And how did you measure that? Like for me, a fasting day, I'm not counting hours. I'm like, it's a day where I woke up in the morning and went to bed and didn't eat. But technically, a day is 24 hours. So if I fast 24 hours, but I stop eating on Sunday night at, let's say, 6 p.m., and I don't eat all day Tuesday, and I eat Wednesday morning at, let's say, 9 or 10 a.m., that's actually 24 plus 16 hours or so. Well, there's a spiritual element to fasting. I can't deny it. And you can get in more in tune with God and with your spiritual side and your spiritual life when you're fasting. But it's funny that when you say fasting, a lot of people say, was that for spiritual reasons? Like as if that would be the only reason to do it. But there is a spiritual benefit to it, whether you're seeking that or not. And I would also say this in life, in order to be healthy, it's a triangle, right? You have spiritual, mental, and physical health. You can't be optimally spiritually healthy if you're not physically healthy, and you can't be mentally healthy if you're not spiritually healthy, or you can't be mentally healthy if you're not physically healthy, and you're certainly not going to be spiritually healthy if you're not mentally healthy. So it's a trifecta. Well, it's not really any of your sister's business. And I've learned that it's best not to talk too much about fasting. People don't know how to deal with that. It's like kind of like, hey, don't mess with my food. Don't make me feel guilty about eating. You know, I've just found it's better not to talk to people about fasting. So, it's sad that your sister thinks that. You should tell your sister what I just said about you can't be spiritually healthy if you're not mentally healthy or physically healthy. Like, you know, if someone is really overweight, they lack energy, they can suffer from depression, they're going to lack self esteem. people don't treat you the same if you're fat. So you lack self-control, obviously, because you haven't got your eating habits regulated. So then, how can you be optimally, um, how can you be living an effective Christian life if you're fat? And churches don't do that very well either because a lot of the pastors are fat. The worship team, everybody's fat. They have buffets and potluck dinners all the time for social time. My one pastor, he was my youth pastor. He became our senior pastor and he became the district superintendent for the denomination. Passed away recently, and he was strictly obese, like morbidly obese, and he was much loved by everybody, but he was always ready to go out for a coffee or come over for dinner or go out for a meal or whatever. And he just lived an extremely unhealthy life. And yet he still had energy and he impacted a lot of people. But what's Merca? No, you're the only one talking to me. If you weren't here talking to me, I would have wrapped this up already. But what is Merca? I've been in Maryland. I don't know, I mean, I'm a neighbor of the United States, but I don't know Tennessee. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because fast food, the food pyramid is a lie. The food pyramid is an entire lie because it's bought and paid for by food corporations. Even when they created Crisco, which is basically vegetable oil that looked like lard. And then they created a campaign against animal fats. And then they told you how to make pies with Crisco and everything. And the word vegetable, I mean, everybody hears vegetable, they think vegetable is good. But do you know that seed oils are poison? They come from they evolved from the process of cottonseed oil. And cottonseed oil, they learned they could extract cottonseed oil, and they used it for industrial lubrication. And it was like gray, but they could slather it on the moving parts of tractors and things like that. And then they started extracting oil from other seeds. And the process of purifying those seeds is chemical based. Yeah, grapeseed oil is bad to eat. I use it to condition my cast iron skillets because it's cheap and it's thin. Yes, all seed oils, look into it. So they use chemicals. So once they press the seeds and get the oil out of it, then they use chemicals to separate the oil. And then they purify it. And they learned how to purify it so it looks clean and white. Um, because it looked inedible and it was before. So olive oil is good because it's not made from grapes. The oil comes from the flesh of the olives, but optimally animal fat. And for me, I discovered ghee, and ghee is just clarified butter. It You can clarify butter and you can take it to one more step, which creates a little bit of a darker color and flavors it. But I think avocado oil is good too because it's from the flesh, because avocado has a lot of oil in it. It's a good healthy fat. You can eat avocado quite healthily. I think it's probably good. But anyway, it's an industrial process, and so I was talking about the food pyramid, and all of these corporations, they learned how to take a waste product, seed oil, which was originally cottonseed oil, and then all kinds of other seed products, and they made oil out of it, and they call it vegetable oil, and they marketed it as vegetable oil, and everybody in my generation was raised, eat your vegetables. And so vegetables, anything with the word vegetable in it would be good, but it's not. It's not. It's not. So now I use ghee, and ghee is clarified butter, and I like it because it is a premium fat that can take a really high temperature. And like if you wanted to cook with butter, it the whey that's in the butter that hasn't been separated before they make ghee, that's what burns. That's what turns brown in the butter. But ghee doesn't have that. So they've evaporated the water and they've burned off the sugars that are in butter, and it's shelf stable. They made it. No, they never made vegetable oil good. And back in the day, they didn't make it at all. Everybody just used tallow, beef fat, um, what's the word for chicken fat? Schmaltz. Jewish people use that a lot because they don't use pork fat or lard. Okay. And like I keep all my bacon fat and use that. Except I just found that for my own digestion, based on my own health now, I like to cook my meat and drain it and drain off the fats and then add a little bit of ghee so that I can measure the amount of fat I'm putting back into my food. Yes, everybody thought it was really healthy, and there was these huge marketing campaigns, like I said, Crisco oil. So first, Crisco, it looked like a pound of lard. It was indistinguishable. It was white, and it worked the same, kind of, sort of. And then they said, like, lard is pig fat, and this is vegetable oil. But the process that they had to learn to go through to make that was just incredible. And their profit margins were just huge. And so the industry itself demonized animal fat. And then you had all of these cereal makers, so that's why they marketed against all kinds of other healthy foods. They demonized eggs and bacon. Um, yeah, yeah, they make Crisco. They still make it. Sure they do. But I'm saying there's a vegetable oil that's liquid, right? And then there's also a Crisco, it's more solidified. But ghee is really good. You should try some because it's also shelf stable, which means I don't keep it in the fridge. I just keep it on the counter and I take a spoon of it out, put it in my skillet if I need to cook something like eggs, like an omelet or something like that. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up, I think. I notice we have a few other viewers. Does anybody else want to say hello or goodbye or ask a question before I go? I'm not necessarily in a hurry. However, I think I've been on here long enough. By what? Ghee? And ghee is Ghee. Very popular in India. I just find it at the grocery store. You can make it though. You should try that. Take a pound of butter, just take a pound of butter and just, thanks, Jim, and put it in a saucepan, a small saucepan, and put it on low heat and melt it. Okay? And buy unsalted butter. And then just melt it. And all you need to do is keep it on low heat, uncovered, and let the liquid, the water basically, evaporate off. You can turn up the heat a little bit and you'll notice when it's done because the bubbling stops and it just becomes still. And the solids that are in it will sink to the bottom, okay? You can skim off a little bit of the foam off the top if you want, but you don't have to. And then all you have to do after that, you've basically just boiled off. You can put on a really, really low boil, like just under 200 degrees, but you don't have to get all scientific about it. You could just put your burner on number one and walk away for a while. And then take a mason jar and put a paper towel, push it inside, and put an elastic band around the outside of the mason jar so there's a depression of paper towel, just kind of like a coffee filter, right? And then pour the ghee, the clarified butter, into the through the paper towel while it's hot. And that's all. Then you'll have ghee. But I thought I could save money doing it, and I can't because, well, you lose some of that liquid. So, in actual fact, you can just buy it, and it costs the same or a little less than butter by the weight. So, well, thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to try to document what I've been doing, and I've learned a lot. I think a lot of things have changed in my story. If anybody's watched my videos, and all I did in the past, I've always tried not to put myself out as an expert. All I've tried to do is just document what I'm doing and let people form their own conclusions. And I've made a lot of mistakes. Um, I've even intuited some things wrong. Like, for example, there's cause and effect. So you do something and then you have a result, and you think that the result is because of what you did. And then it seems like that's true, but that hasn't always been true. So, and I just learned something this week. Like, I noticed that after I fast, um, I did better on my refeed day by eating more and also eating a high fat meat. So I had some brisket that I had cut up into small cubes and I would eat that. And then last week when I ate that, I felt just really crappy. And then, so even that, like as soon as I'm the kind of guy I like to like make things the same. Find a protocol, find something that works and just stick to it. And it always changes. Everything always changes. We're all different. So what works for me doesn't work for you. And what worked for me this week doesn't always work for me next week. So yeah. Okay, Jim, well, thank you for that. And I'd like to I look forward to getting to know you better too, and maybe hear about your story as well. Where are you in the world? This streaming software has been really great. I like it a lot. Okay, well, I'm going to go. Thanks again. Okay, New Jersey. Well, hello, brother. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night. And remember, stay safe, love yourself, and be awesome.